Beyond the void lies a forgotten galaxy, where time bends and evolution takes unimaginable forms. A team of explorers ventures into the unknown, seeking answers to humanity's deepest questions. But what they find will challenge everything we know about life, consciousness, and our place in the universe. Ancient civilizations, living stars, and technological wonders beyond comprehension await in Eternal Echoes, The Lost Galaxy Chronicles. Subscribe now for an interstellar journey that will redefine your understanding of reality. The expedition began as most scientific endeavors do, with equal parts excitement and trepidation. Humanity had long since mapped the nearby galaxies, charting stars and planets with meticulous precision. Yet beyond the edge of known space lay a region shrouded in mystery, its light too faint to reach even the most advanced telescopes. This was NGC 404, colloquially known as Mirika's Ghost, a galaxy presumed lifeless for billions of years. The research vessel Erebus cut through the cosmic darkness like a silver needle, its quantum engines humming with contained power. On board, 23 scientists and engineers prepared for what would become the most significant discovery in human history. The approach revealed something unexpected: entire star systems operating on principles that defied conventional physics. Gravity behaved erratically, bending light in impossible ways, while energy patterns suggested intelligent manipulation at a galactic scale. The ship's sensors detected structures orbiting dead stars, their geometric perfection hinting at purposeful design. These weren't natural formations, but constructs of inconceivable complexity. As the Erebus moved deeper into this cosmic anomaly, the crew observed phenomena that challenged fundamental scientific understanding. Matter existing in multiple states simultaneously, temporal distortions creating localized time loops, and vast networks of energy conduits spanning light years. Each new observation brought more questions than answers. The technology evident in these ancient constructions suggested mastery over forces humanity had only begun to comprehend. Quantum entanglement appeared to be harnessed not just between particles, but across entire star systems. Energy signatures matched no known power source, pulsing with a rhythm reminiscent of biological heartbeats. The implications were staggering. Either these were remnants of an impossibly advanced civilization or evidence of evolutionary paths divergent from anything previously imagined. The first encounter occurred near what appeared to be an abandoned orbital station. Its crystalline structure refracted starlight into cascading rainbows, creating a display both beautiful and unsettling. As the exploration team approached in their shuttlecraft, instruments registered fluctuations in local spacetime, suggesting the station maintained active systems despite its apparent abandonment. Closer examination revealed surface patterns that shifted subtly, almost imperceptibly, as if responding to their presence. These movements followed mathematical sequences so complex they defied immediate analysis, yet contained elements recognizable from Earth's own mathematical constants. Within the station's transparent corridors, the air carried an unusual charge, making hair stand on end and equipment readings spike erratically. Walls seemed to breathe with internal currents of energy, occasionally forming shapes that resembled circuit diagrams before dissolving back into abstract patterns. The floor beneath their boots pulsed gently, synchronized with distant stellar phenomena. Most astonishing were the data repositories, crystalline matrices containing information encoded in multidimensional patterns. Attempts to interface with these storage units resulted in bizarre sensory experiences, as if the knowledge attempted to bypass conventional neural pathways and imprint directly onto consciousness. These initial discoveries hinted at technologies far beyond human capability. The station's power source remained elusive, though it clearly operated on principles unrelated to fusion or fission. Temperature regulation occurred through some form of quantum field manipulation, maintaining perfect environmental conditions without visible machinery. Gravity generators worked in harmony with the station's rotation, creating artificial gravity fields that adapted seamlessly to movement. Communication systems employed a form of electromagnetic radiation outside known spectrums, leaving researchers struggling to understand how information was transmitted and received. As exploration expanded, evidence mounted of an ecosystem unlike any encountered before. Microscopic organisms thrived in the vacuum of space, their cellular structures incorporating dark matter in ways that suggested symbiotic relationships with surrounding gravitational fields. Larger entities, resembling immense translucent jellyfish, drifted between stars, their bodies composed of plasma contained within self-generated magnetic fields. These creatures emitted low-frequency vibrations that propagated across astronomical distances, possibly serving as a form of communication or perhaps something more fundamental to their existence. The most remarkable discovery came when researchers identified what could only be described as conscious nebulae. These vast clouds of ionized gas demonstrated behaviors indicating awareness and intentionality. They would rearrange their formations in response to stimuli, sometimes creating intricate patterns that persisted for hours before dissipating. Spectral analysis revealed complex chemical compositions that changed dynamically, suggesting metabolic processes operating on scales incomprehensible to terrestrial biology. Some nebulae appeared to maintain stable cores of condensed matter, potentially serving as control centers or processing nodes for distributed consciousness. Plant-like organisms grew on asteroids and small moons, their roots penetrating deep into mineral deposits while their photosynthetic surfaces spanned hundreds of square kilometers. These plants didn't rely solely on starlight for energy. They harvested radiation from various sources, including cosmic rays and background radiation. Their growth patterns suggested social behavior, with individual organisms coordinating resource distribution across entire asteroid belts. Researchers observed instances of these space-dwelling plants extending tendrils toward passing ships, apparently attempting interaction or perhaps simply curious about the newcomers in their domain. The technological artifacts recovered from derelict structures revealed manufacturing techniques that blurred the line between organic and synthetic. Materials exhibited properties of both, growing and repairing themselves while maintaining precise engineered characteristics. Components showed evidence of molecular-level programming, with atoms arranged in configurations that served both structural and computational functions. The alloys used in construction demonstrated adaptive qualities, changing density and composition in response to environmental stresses or operational requirements. Energy systems operated on principles that defied classical thermodynamics. Power flowed through crystalline conduits that seemed to generate additional energy rather than lose it during transmission. Storage devices held charges indefinitely without detectable leakage, suggesting containment methods beyond current human understanding. The integration of quantum computing throughout these systems created processing capabilities that made contemporary supercomputers appear primitive by comparison. Information wasn't merely stored and retrieved, but existed in continuous states of potentiality until needed, allowing for instantaneous access to vast amounts of data. Perhaps most intriguing were the interface mechanisms. Control panels responded to thought patterns rather than physical touch, adapting to each user's mental signature after brief calibration periods. Display surfaces projected holographic images directly into the visual cortex, bypassing traditional optical receptors. Safety protocols manifested as intuitive warnings within the operator's consciousness, preventing accidental activation of dangerous systems. The sophistication of these interfaces suggested a civilization where technology had evolved to become an extension of biological function rather than separate from it. Among the ruins of ancient cities floating in the void, researchers uncovered records detailing a society that had transcended conventional notions of civilization. These beings, whose exact physical form remained uncertain due to the abstract nature of their preserved representations, had developed a culture deeply intertwined with their environment. Artwork depicted harmonious interactions between their species and the space-dwelling organisms, suggesting mutual benefit rather than exploitation. Philosophical treatises spoke of unity with the cosmos, viewing individual existence as part of a greater universal consciousness. Their societal structure appeared fluid and adaptive, with roles and responsibilities shifting based on need rather than rigid hierarchy. Decision-making processes involved consensus building across vast distances, facilitated by technologies that allowed instantaneous communication regardless of separation. Education focused not on specialization but on developing holistic understanding, with individuals learning to interpret cosmic phenomena as naturally as humans read written language. The concept of ownership seemed foreign to them. Resources were shared based on collective need rather than individual accumulation. Most fascinating were their approaches to scientific advancement. Rather than isolating disciplines, they viewed knowledge as an interconnected web where breakthroughs in one area naturally influenced others. Their mathematics incorporated dimensions beyond the familiar three spatial and one temporal, allowing them to manipulate reality in ways that appeared magical to human observers. Medical practices merged biological enhancement with technological augmentation, creating beings capable of surviving in environments lethal to unmodified life forms while retaining their essential selves. As the expedition progressed, the true scale of the galaxy's transformation became apparent. Entire star systems had been reconfigured into colossal machines, their components functioning in perfect synchronization despite spanning light years. Dyson spheres encased dying stars, harvesting their remaining energy while maintaining habitable zones for dependent ecosystems. Artificial wormholes connected distant regions, creating a network that defied conventional spacetime geometry. These engineering feats suggested a civilization capable of manipulating fundamental forces with precision rivaling nature itself. The most extraordinary discovery lay at the galaxy's core, a structure that defied all attempts at measurement or description. Initial scans indicated it occupied multiple dimensions simultaneously, its mass fluctuating according to observer position. The object emitted pulses of information-rich radiation, encoding complex messages and patterns that repeated across different scales. Researchers theorized it might serve as a central processor for the entire galaxy, coordinating activities and maintaining stability through feedback loops operating faster than light-speed communication should allow. Attempts to interact with this core structure produced unexpected results. Ships approaching within a certain radius experienced temporal dilation effects, with onboard clocks losing synchronization with external references. Equipment malfunctioned in peculiar ways, displaying readings that contradicted known physical laws while somehow remaining internally consistent. Crew members reported altered perceptions, experiencing moments of heightened awareness followed by disorienting lapses in memory. These effects suggested the structure wasn't merely technological but somehow alive, responding to intrusions with defensive mechanisms operating on principles beyond human comprehension. The exploration team devoted countless cycles to deciphering the galaxy's primary communication medium, a form of structured electromagnetic radiation that operated across multiple dimensional planes simultaneously. Unlike conventional radio waves or light signals, these transmissions existed as probability waves, collapsing into coherent information only when observed by appropriately tuned receivers. The content ranged from mathematical proofs to artistic expressions, often blending the two in ways that challenged human categorization. Complex symmetries emerged from raw data streams, resolving into fractal patterns that conveyed meaning through their very structure rather than explicit symbols. Researchers gradually developed methods to interface with this communication network, discovering layers of metadata embedded within each transmission. These additional channels carried context, emotional resonance, and even what appeared to be subjective experiences alongside objective information. The civilization's history unfolded in waves of interconnected narratives, each perspective contributing to a greater whole rather than presenting linear accounts. Timestamps proved unreliable, as events seemed to exist in simultaneous relationship to one another, suggesting a fundamentally different conception of causality. The language itself incorporated elements of quantum mechanics, with words and concepts existing in superposition until interpreted. This created enormous challenges for translation efforts, as meanings shifted depending on the observer's frame of reference and level of understanding. Certain messages required multiple viewpoints to fully resolve, implying a collaborative approach to knowledge sharing. Mathematical constants embedded within linguistic structures provided anchor points for interpretation, but even these revealed surprising depth upon closer examination, containing recursive patterns that hinted at underlying universal truths. The expedition's medical team encountered unprecedented challenges when studying the galaxy's dominant species remains. Preserved specimens revealed biological systems that incorporated technological components at the cellular level, blurring distinctions between organic and synthetic life. Nanoscopic machines participated in metabolic processes, enhancing efficiency while maintaining genetic integrity across millennia. Neural structures extended beyond physical brains, interfacing directly with ambient energy fields to create distributed consciousness networks. Physiological adaptations included radiation-resistant cells capable of thriving in high-energy environments, while specialized organelles converted exotic particles into usable biochemical energy. Some samples demonstrated quantum coherence across entire organisms, suggesting mechanisms for instantaneous information transfer between distant body parts. Reproductive strategies appeared to combine genetic material with technological blueprints, ensuring offspring inherited both biological traits and cultural knowledge through direct cellular encoding. Medical scanning revealed evidence of deliberate evolutionary engineering, with successive generations showing progressively more sophisticated integration of biological and technological elements. Certain specimens exhibited regenerative capabilities bordering on immortality, replacing damaged tissues with improved versions according to pre-programmed templates. Immune systems incorporated adaptive algorithms capable of recognizing and neutralizing threats never before encountered, while maintaining balance with beneficial microorganisms. These findings suggested a civilization that had mastered not just survival but continuous improvement through controlled evolution. The galaxy's educational archives presented perhaps the greatest challenge to human understanding. Knowledge wasn't compartmentalized into discrete subjects but existed as an interconnected web of concepts, each influencing and being influenced by countless others. Mathematical principles informed artistic expression while historical events shaped scientific inquiry and reciprocal relationships. Learning modules adapted in real-time to individual cognitive patterns, presenting information through combinations of sensory inputs that maximized comprehension while minimizing cognitive load. Training facilities incorporated full-spectrum immersion environments, where students experienced theoretical concepts as tangible realities. Physics lessons occurred within simulated universes where fundamental constants could be adjusted to observe resulting changes, while historical studies placed participants directly within reconstructed events. Problem-solving exercises required synthesis of knowledge from diverse domains, encouraging development of intuition rather than rote memorization. Assessment methods measured pattern recognition ability and capacity for conceptual integration rather than specific factual recall. Advanced education focused on cultivating what researchers termed cosmic consciousness, the ability to perceive and influence reality at fundamental levels. Students learned to manipulate quantum probabilities through focused intention, alter local space-time geometry through mental modeling, and interface directly with technological systems through neural resonance. These skills weren't considered extraordinary abilities but basic competencies expected of mature members of society, suggesting a civilization where individual potential was cultivated to degrees previously unimaginable. The galaxy's defense systems revealed themselves gradually, initially appearing as harmless artifacts before demonstrating lethal capabilities. Automated sentries patrolled strategic locations, their forms composed of mutable energy fields that could assume any configuration necessary to neutralize threats. Weapon platforms utilized principles of quantum entanglement to affect targets instantaneously, regardless of distance, while shielding technologies created pockets of stabilized space-time impervious to conventional attacks. These systems operated autonomously, guided by directives encoded in multidimensional patterns resistant to tampering or deactivation. More concerning were the evidence of biological weapons, engineered organisms capable of adapting to and overcoming any known countermeasure. Viral agents could rewrite genetic code at quantum levels, spreading through matter-energy matrices to infect both biological and technological targets simultaneously. Defensive measures included nanoscopic guardians that dismantled invasive elements at molecular scales while maintaining host system integrity. The sophistication of these biological defenses suggested centuries of arms race evolution between competing factions within the galaxy itself. Architectural features incorporated security measures that made structures nearly impregnable. Buildings could phase between dimensions, becoming partially non-existent while maintaining functional integrity. Access controls required multidimensional authentication, combining temporal, spatial, and quantum factors and authorization protocols. Even archaeological sites proved difficult to study closely, with protective fields generating disorienting effects on approaching researchers. These defenses, still operational despite apparent abandonment, testified to the civilization's enduring caution regarding external threats. The most profound discoveries emerged from studying the galaxy's philosophical frameworks, which integrated scientific understanding with existential inquiry to create comprehensive worldviews. Concepts of individual identity expanded beyond physical form to encompass distributed consciousness patterns, suggesting beings could exist simultaneously across multiple locations while maintaining cohesive self-awareness. Time was viewed not as linear progression but as multidimensional landscape, where past, present, and future coexisted in dynamic relationship rather than fixed sequence. Ethical systems emphasized harmony with universal principles rather than adherence to prescribed rules. Moral decisions considered consequences across multiple dimensions of existence, weighing impacts on space-time geometry alongside effects on sentient beings. The concept of responsibility extended beyond immediate actions to include ripple effects through interconnected realities, creating obligation to maintain balance within the cosmic ecosystem. These perspectives explain the civilization's careful approach to technological development, prioritizing sustainability and minimal disruption to natural order over rapid advancement. Metaphysical investigations revealed attempts to quantify consciousness itself, measuring awareness as fundamental property of universe alongside mass and energy. Mathematical models suggested consciousness emerged from specific arrangements of quantum information, potentially explaining origin of self-awareness in biological systems. These studies led to practical applications in mental health treatment, consciousness transfer, and even creation of artificial intelligence that retained genuine subjective experience rather than mere simulation of it. Evidence of conflict appeared in subtle but undeniable ways. Abandoned battlefields where quantum anomalies still disrupted local physics, ruined megastructures bearing scars of weapon impacts that violated conservation laws, and quarantine zones containing remnants of biological warfare agents. Historical records, fragmented and encrypted, told of civil wars fought not just with physical weapons but through manipulation of fundamental forces. Factions had weaponized space-time itself, creating paradox weapons that unraveled causal chains and reality disruptors that forced pockets of universe into alternative quantum states. The scale of destruction defied imagination. Entire star systems had been temporarily removed from existence, their matter-energy matrices folded into higher dimensions before partially unfolding, leaving behind mutated physics and unstable planetary orbits. Some regions remained permanently altered, hosting ecosystems that operated under rewritten natural laws. The aftermath of these conflicts persisted as environmental hazards, with quantum storms sweeping through sectors and temporal eddies trapping unwary travelers in endless loops. Reconstruction efforts following major battles demonstrated remarkable resilience and ingenuity. Damaged stars were reignited through controlled matter-energy conversion, while shattered planets were rebuilt using automated nanoscopic construction swarms. However, these repairs often introduced new instabilities, creating hybrid environments where artificial and natural elements coexisted in uneasy balance. The cumulative effect suggested a civilization repeatedly pushing technological boundaries to their limits, then struggling to contain the consequences of their own innovations. As the expedition neared its conclusion, researchers compiled mounting evidence suggesting the galaxy's inhabitants hadn't perished, but rather undergone some form of transcendence. Data patterns indicated systematic uploading of consciousness into quantum matrices, creating distributed intelligences that continued to evolve beyond physical constraints. Residual energy signatures suggested these post-biological entities maintained presence throughout the galaxy, influencing environmental conditions and maintaining infrastructure through remote operation. Observations of recent phenomena pointed to ongoing activity. Star formation rates showed unnatural regularity, while planetary atmospheres displayed chemical compositions optimized for supporting life forms yet to emerge. Energy flows followed patterns too complex to be purely natural, hinting at deliberate cultivation of conditions favorable to future evolution. The central structure at galaxy's core pulsed with increasing intensity, broadcasting information-rich signals that grew more sophisticated over time. Most compelling were instances of apparent communication attempts. Equipment aboard the Erebus occasionally recorded patterned energy fluctuations matching those used in the galaxy's native communication protocols. These messages, though incomplete, contained mathematical constants and universal concepts recognizable to human understanding. Whether these represented automatic responses from dormant systems or deliberate outreach from remaining intelligences remained unclear. but they suggested the possibility of establishing contact with whatever persisted of the original civilization. The expedition's departure marked both triumph and frustration. Vast quantities of data had been collected, yet much remained incomprehensible, requiring decades of analysis to unravel fully. Researchers returned home carrying not just physical artifacts but transformed perspectives on existence itself. The experience had rewired their neural pathways through prolonged exposure to alien concepts, leaving them forever changed by proximity to such advanced understanding. Their reports sparked debates that would reshape human philosophy, science, and culture for generations to come. Immediate applications of discovered technologies promised revolutionary advances. Energy generation systems based on quantum field manipulation entered development stages, while new materials science initiatives drew inspiration from self-repairing alloys. Medical research accelerated dramatically, incorporating insights into cellular-level technological integration and quantum consciousness manipulation. Space travel concepts evolved to incorporate multidimensional navigation principles, promising faster-than-light alternatives to current propulsion methods. However, these developments raised ethical concerns about appropriate implementation and potential unintended consequences. Long-term implications proved even more profound. Humanity faced fundamental questions about its own trajectory, considering whether to pursue similar paths of transcendence or maintain distinct evolutionary course. The discovery challenged anthropocentric views of intelligence and civilization, forcing reconsideration of what constituted life and consciousness. Philosophical discussions intensified about proper relationship between technological advancement and natural order, with many arguing for more cautious approach to innovation based on lessons learned from observing another civilization's rise and transformation. The expedition's legacy continues to unfold, shaping human destiny in ways both predicted and unforeseen. Research institutions dedicated to studying recovered knowledge have become centers of innovation, attracting brilliant minds from across the globe. Breakthroughs occur regularly, each new discovery building upon foundations laid by previous revelations. The initial team's experiences have inspired generations of explorers, scientists, and philosophers, creating ripple effects through human culture that grow stronger with time. Yet questions remain that may never find answers. The fate of the galaxy's original inhabitants persists as tantalizing mystery, their final transformation into post-biological existence serving as both warning and promise. Humanity stands at crossroads, contemplating similar choices about its own future direction. The knowledge gained comes with responsibility, to use wisely, to preserve carefully, and to respect boundaries between ambition and hubris. As research progresses and applications multiply, the expedition's true impact reveals itself gradually, touching every aspect of human endeavor while reminding us of our place within larger cosmic context. This is just the beginning of humanity's journey into understanding the universe's deepest mysteries. If you enjoyed this mind-expanding exploration of Eternal Echoes, The Lost Galaxy Chronicles, please subscribe to our channel for more incredible journeys into the unknown. Your support helps us continue bringing you fascinating stories from the frontiers of science and imagination.